it kind of works, Phil.
Oh boy. What the hell?
Golly.
We can't buy a break.
Oh, yeah, come on, boys and girls.
Got all this newfangled equipment.
Hey. It was simple. Simple fix.
Lord.
Good morning. Welcome to the show. Again, we're going to show you how to manage technical difficulties because that's what we do best. And that's what we're going to talk about today is, Hayden Stafford wrote an article for Forbes, and it's a really good article. Talking about 3 leadership principles to live by: clarity, empowerment, and accountability. We're going to give you our take on that, but one of the things as a leader, you need to focus, you need to build your leadership style, and you make it simple, right? Patrick Verino, a guy I met out in Minneapolis a couple years ago, just wrote a book and asked us to review it. I'm in the process of reading it and reviewing it right now, called Leadership Bridge. And he talks about these things, but more importantly, he talks about the first thing you got to do as a leader before you gain clarity is know who you are, right? Look in the mirror and do a self-assessment of, are you doing the things to build an engaging team? What is your vision? What is your mission? Clarify for yourself your personal state so you can take that to the team.
I talk all the time about, or say hi to Matt. I say hi. I say, hey Matt.
Hi Matt.
I say this all the time. A self-aware person is a productive person. If you're not self-aware, if you don't understand what your strengths are, if you don't understand what your weaknesses are, you're going to struggle. And more importantly, you're not going to be able to have a clarity with your team. You're not going to be able to create clarity on your personal vision because you're not self-aware. I know the things that I'm good at. They're easy to keep track of because there's only a couple things. Everything else I know that I've got to work extra hard at. There's those things that you're naturally just talented in, right? And other things you got to work on. But you've got to be self-aware before you can create clarity for your team.
Now I'm gonna celebrate one of our clients we worked with a while ago, Mike Markham. Mike, shout out to you. Mike got it, and on the clarity piece. And the clarity piece is just this: vision, mission, goals. When you walked into his company that he sold, on the wall as soon as I walked in, I saw it, proud as day. In the warehouse, proud as day. Mission. There was no doubt that Mike was not communicating clearly, with clarity, what his expectations were for the team.
Right. No, he's genuine.
Yep.
Just a genuine human being. So he's one of those people that you naturally want to perform for. There's complete clarity, complete understanding, and from that's why Mike's built so many successful businesses over the years. But I think too, when you have clarity, people walk with confidence. Your team's going to go out knowing there's no clouds in the sky. It's beautiful, bright blue sky on what they're supposed to be doing every day. It really is a simple concept.
So, simply stated, clarity is this. Tell your team what the goals are. Tell the team what the mission is. Tell the team what the vision is. Tell them how they contribute. Allow them to understand how they contribute. Empower them to do their job. It's that simple.
Who are you and what do you do?
Yep. And if your team, if I can't, you're always going to go, what's your mission? Mission to the janitor. And they can't tell me, then you're not doing it right. It's just that simple. The next thing is empowerment, and this is probably one of my favorite things because we as leaders sometimes fail at this. And the reason we fail at this is because we think we have to control everything. As opposed to setting boundaries, letting people go perform, we try to hand them and move them and not let them fail.
I use the example of children.
Yes.
And I'm not saying your employees are children, even though some of them may act like it sometimes, because owners act like children sometimes. We all do. We're human beings.
That's a fact.
But with a child, you'll say, you'll show, you'll tell, you show, you tell. Look at when they learn how to ride a bike, right? There's training wheels on it. And you go out there and you help them, you show them how to safely get on the bike. I was a terrible dad. I didn't waste time with helmets and knee pads and elbow pads. I just put them on the bike. I was an 80s guy, so I just put them on the bike, and we go out in the driveway, then you get a little bigger runway, and you let them get some confidence, and you pull those training wheels off, and you let them go. Training wheels are training. Training wheels is a development plan. That's all it is. It's to help them get established, to understand a baseline of what they're supposed to do. Then you got to mentor them, encourage them, continue to develop it, continue to train them, but eventually the training wheels come off, and you're running alongside your kiddo with the bike, and then you just got a hold of the back seat, and then next thing you know, you let go, and they're 20 yards down. It was the first time in my life I experienced true terror when I realized I wasn't there to catch them, I wasn't there to help them, I wasn't there to save them. They were on their own. And it's the same with an employee. You know, what holds employees back many times is our desire to keep them from making a mistake, to keep them from falling off the bike. They're going to fall off the bike. It's going to happen, okay? So you've got to be there to help them get back on the bike, understand what they did incorrectly so you can correct it, and encourage them to keep going. You know, the worst thing you can do is destroy somebody's spirit and desire to go be more than what they think they can be currently, to push themselves. You got to create an atmosphere and a culture where people feel that and they want to go do great things.
The only way you get better in life is to take the training wheels off and fail. The only way as a human being you get stronger and better in life is to fail a little bit and know what it's like and learn the lesson, and learn, more importantly, that when you fail, it's not the end of the world. You can recover from that. You can move on. Too many business owners today are keeping their team from failing. And they're not making them better because now they're relying on you as mom or dad or the business owner to catch them when they fall. You've got to let people fall sometimes. The key to this is put boundaries in place so when they fall, it doesn't kill the company.
Yeah.
It's okay to fall, and let's fix it, and let's talk through what happened and see what lesson you learned, and then let's move forward. This is really, really important, and it's the only way you can truly empower your team to be successful.
Only way, and I think, again, continue with the kiddo, the child analogy. They start driving. There's another milestone, right? I mean, it's running a business. Really is like running a household. It really is. I mean, there's nuances to it, but the truth is that common sense goes a long, long, long ways into running a successful organization.
Bill, did you just mention common sense?
I did. Sorry.
My
bad.
Common sense is not common, so let's not confuse.
My bad. I used the C word.
So the next thing we're going to talk about, and this is a good way to round up. So you got clarity, empowerment, and now accountability. So you've defined the mission and vision and goals. They know what to do. You've empowered them to do what you've asked them to do. Now the final step, and this is really leadership 101, is accountability. How are you holding your team accountable? How is your team holding you accountable for the things you said? Because there's a lot of bosses out there that say stuff, managers and owners, and they don't follow up. They don't do what they say they're going to do. Yeah. Right? So accountability is a two-way street. And if you allow your team to hold you accountable, they will allow you to hold them accountable.
Autonomy comes with accountability. I mean, you've got, listen, don't create or put somebody into a leadership role or a project lead or whatever the case may be, and then stand over them every second telling them what to do. That's insanity. Nobody gets better. You lose good people. I mean, the old saying, people don't leave companies, they leave bad managers. That's a truism. They leave because people don't allow them to develop or don't give them the resources to develop. Now, we don't live in a Pollyanna world. I mean, you're going to have knucklehead employees along the way. You're going to have people that do stuff that you go, what in the no. No, that doesn't work. And you'll have to deal with those situations when they arise. But the mass majority of your employees are outstanding, solid people, or you wouldn't have hired them, or I should say you shouldn't have hired them. And if they are, if you have a lot of these employees in your organization and you sit around and you go, I can't believe this is the best I have, don't be mad at them. Go look in the mirror. Because I promise you there's a flaw somewhere along the way in your hiring practices. You've compromised something along the way to just get a body into an organization. And we get it. It's tough. We see it every day. We deal with it every day. It's tough to find good employees right now. It's tough to find any employee right now. But you can't compromise your process or the system just to get a body in there.
Well, Phil, we're in the middle of the Great Resignation right now.
Oh.
You have two choices. People are going to leave or they're going to quit and stay, right? And the worst case in that is they quit and stay because now you're paying them, they're not working. But Hayden has a comment here. I want to read this because it's really important. When holding teams accountable, executives are ultimately creating camaraderie and promoting trust. Individuals must learn to rely on one another, whether it's to meet deadlines, fulfill responsibilities, or feel safe approaching a teammate for assistance. That is the key to an incredible business culture.
Yeah.
That comes with clarity, empowerment, and accountability. It's that simple. It's not any harder. So first, take a look at yourself. Figure out who you are, who you want to be, and where you're failing, because we're all failing at some point. All of us are struggling, and we all have weaknesses. There is no superhero out there that gets everything right. It just doesn't happen. The next thing is once you define that, empower your team to go do, and then you and the team hold each other accountable.
Yeah, you got to follow. That's where your processes really come into play. I mean, you've got to have these rock solid processes that are not negotiable. If it's a process, if it's part of the core value of your company, those aren't negotiable. Now, that doesn't mean be an idiot. And if market changes create, differences, then you got to make adjustments. But you never, if something is so valuable to you that you make it a process and it's part of the core of who you are as an organization, you don't change those like the weather outside. I mean, you've got to stay committed to those processes, and that's what's going to carry you through to have great results.
That's fact.
Hope so.
I mean, this is an easy discussion. It's not a long discussion. There's a lot of for you to take away today. So take that away with you, and grow your company. Do not succumb to society. Go be a great leader. Go build a great team. Go build a company people want to work at or for, and do great things. And let's help rebuild this country.
And I got to say something too. I mean, a lot of moving parts in the world right now. Last 2.5 years it seemed like I don't even know what. I mean, I don't even know the word. I mean, I know the words I use to describe it, but I'm not going to say it here. But you've always got two choices. You can waller in misery, or you can stand up and fight. Now, Dave and I are fighters. That's all we've ever been. We've just been fighters. That's all we know. So and that served us well, my brother. But it's painful, and so you've got to be willing to understand what you're doing matters. It's important. It's helping create jobs. It's helping make your local community stronger and better. We've got to take care of our own backyards. You absolutely have to take care of your own backyards. I see Matt had a question. How do you deal with an employee inbound from companies with a culture of accountability? Did I read that right? I don't have my glasses on.
I'm typing it in right now.
Dave, you want to verbalize it?
Sure, I can. Matt, the answer is very simple. You have to have an onboarding process that retrains them in your culture, and either they're a fit or not. If they can't adapt to your culture and what you expect, then they're gone.
Well, and also up front, when you're talking to those people, and I realize, that's where you flush all that stuff out.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, in an interview, I've been lied to by the best of them, and it is what it is. The thing people don't want to acknowledge about business is it's hard work.
It is.
I mean, you've got to work hard. There's tons of stress that comes with it. There's tons of uncertainty that comes with it. I'm talking about as an owner. As an employee, it's difficult because the worst case scenario for them is they go find another job. Your worst case scenario as the owner is you lose everything. You got to start over. Yep. So you got to really spend time up front. That's why hiring practices are so very important, and make sure you get the right people on your team. But what Dave said is 100% correct. If you don't have that solid process for onboarding, to get them retrained to understand and to start learning the culture and being a part of that culture and feeling good about that culture, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
And just remember, the interview is the best your employee's going to look.
Ever.
I mean, they're going to come in because they know it's an interview. They know they're being graded. Their guard is going to be way up, and they're going to be doing everything they can to impress you.
They're going to get there 15 minutes early.
If they don't, then that's a sign.
That's a sign. If they're not there 15 minutes, that is a sign. I'm just telling you. But people are interesting. They just everybody, and I don't think people say this enough. We're all in this thing for our own reasons, right? I'm very active on LinkedIn. Have a lot of conversations with a lot of business owners on LinkedIn. I do more Zooms than I care to even think about with people.
Warrior.
It's unreal, but what's consistent is that everybody wants something out of whatever the time they're committing is, right? So if they're giving you 8 hours a day, they want something. What do they want? They want security. They want a paycheck, obviously. They want benefits. They want, hopefully, fulfillment. They want to be a part of something bigger than them. They want all these things. I think one of the dumbest things we can expect out of an employee is that they're going to act like you as the owner. I think it's insane.
It's not realistic.
It's unrealistic, it's not going to happen. So we set ourselves up right out the gate to be disappointed. You know, I mean, how can you expect somebody that's making $20 an hour to worry about a multi-million-dollar business?
You can't.
You can't. You hope that they care. You want them to do all the right things. You want them to come to work on time. You want them to do a good job. You want them to interact well with other employees and customers. But it's not realistic to expect them to act like an owner, because they're not. I mean, it's just, so I think that's one of the first things we got to do as owners is we've got to quit lying to ourselves that this unicorn really exists out there. Now, are there exceptions to the rule? There's exceptions to every rule, right? But they are the unicorn. I mean, it is very, very, very rare. You may own a business, have hundreds of employees, and own it for 50 years, and you might have one of those people that really fall into that category. Just one. You know, so be realistic with your expectations, and that goes back to the clarity, right?
Yeah,
have good clarity with them.
And then let's circle back, because we've really talked a lot about this. The key to this is simple. Know who you are. What's your personal vision? Define what the role is in the company. Clarify what people need to do and what their mission and vision is for your company. Empower them, hold them accountable.
Yep.
Just keep it simple. We work with community businesses that make it hard and try to do all these things. Keep it simple and go execute. Steve Jobs said it best, simple is hard. So I want you to focus on being simple and really clarifying what you do, really empowering your people in the right way, and then building a team and a culture of accountability.
We were in a meeting last week out of state, and you know, we had a guest there that we invited in, and you know, without going into a lot of details, it was awkward. And everybody in the room knew it was awkward except for the person that was making it awkward. And that's how it usually is, right? You know, it turned out to be fine because we did a lot of cleanup after, but it was very awkward. Now, that's a different way it's an example of if you don't have right expectations, if you don't understand, if there's not clarity on what, in this case, what the meeting was about, if all parties don't fully understand that, you know, you're going to have awkward moments. That's, you know, so now in this case, we sure talked about what the meeting was about many times with everybody involved, but this individual just kind of went on their own road. I've actually got a follow-up call with him today.
I hope so.
So I do. So, but it's, you know, but again, those, and we joke about that, you know, or make lighthearted about that, but it's important for that individual, because if you care about that individual, in this case, that made it awkward, that could have mucked up the whole deal, if you don't sit down with them, counsel them from an approach of, hey, this is what was observed, not by just us, but by literally everybody in the rooms talked about it. We all saw it, you know, and give them guidance and try to help them get better. Well, then you're not doing your job as a leader, you know. So uncomfortable conversations. I'm not looking forward to this conversation because it's not going to be fun. But it's one of those things that you have to do. So I encourage you to have those challenging conversations. I encourage you to create a culture where there's clarity, there's accountability. You know, make sure all those things are a part of what you're doing every day, and you'll have great days, which will lead to great weeks, which will lead to great months, which will lead to great years, which will lead to a great business.
Sweet. So with that, clarity, empowerment, accountability. Those are the 3 words for today. That EXSIN, Phil and Dave, we are out of here.